Dear PGurus audience, I am very happy to interact with you. It is regarding the Tamil Nadu budget, a brief discussion because so much has already been told about it. As they used to say in the past, gallons of ink and acres of paper has been spent on it. Nowadays, of course, it's all in the net. So there is no ink and paper. Anyhow, the few observations we would like to make, which are not already covered. One is, of course, many might have observed it. The finance minister could have presented it in English fully. There is nothing wrong about it because, unfortunately, he was not very proficient in communicating in Tamil. That's a sort of an issue which we mentioned. Of course, revenue deficit is reduced, not eliminated. Almost all states are facing this problem. Kerala, Tamil Nadu, the states like Rajasthan, Telangana, every state is having this major problem. Almost after 10-11, if I recall, the revenue deficit has zoomed. One of the major reason is the salary, wages, pension and interest to the government employees and past loans. Roughly 70 to 75% goes into these things. And in individual department, like education department, it is told some 36,000 crore or something, 33,000 crore goes on salary. And similarly about transport department and all these things. So there is a huge amount of constraint in terms of meeting these obligations. And these, government employees are highly unionized, teachers are highly unionized, transport employees are highly unionized, and any government for that matter, not the current TN government, any government which rides on these what I call tigers, it's like catching the wall, the tail and then riding on it. It's very difficult for them to have any meaningful discussion or any meaningful reduction in the outlays. For instance, it is told that good, the headmaster with a good amount of experience could be earning as high as 85,000 or something in Tamil Nadu. So, in which case, there is a lot of consternation for further, increasing these scales and other things. So, second is the state is highly urbanized. That fact is not. It's one of the, I think, if I remember correctly, the highest urbanized in the country, more than 60%. Traditional agriculture is completely losing ground. A lot of cultivable areas themselves are getting converted into apartments, and then this what you may call the malls and departmental stores and multiplex and other. The share of agriculture is around 11%. It is becoming 8%. And surprisingly, last year or somewhere it started to have a separate agriculture budget, which I feel is, something very interesting. It should have started long time before. And now another thing is because of the non-availability of labor, lack of work culture and other things. Even in agriculture, you find a good number of people from other states involved in agriculture activity. This is something, a new trend actually. Traditionally, they have been in manufacturing, they have been in textiles, they have been retail showroom, and they have been in the hotels, restaurant, and other things. So the other state population, it was told officially 11 lakh, around 11, 12. Then it became 40 lakhs. Now I presume in another 5 to 6 years it will be 1 crore in Tamil Nadu. So there is a need for harnessing the existing technical and other type of manpower within Tamil Nadu in a very useful way. Plus providing it to other states for which Hindi is a must. For instance, we have 4 doctors per 1,000 in Tamil Nadu, one of the highest in the country, and touching to something like Norway, Sweden, and other places. And so, quite a number of people who have become doctors, I am told, are not even practicing. And some of them are into other lines of activity, other lines of business. Some of them are politicians and other things. Point I want to stress is, if these 4 out of 1,000 has to go to other states to practice, they should know Hindi. Otherwise, it is very difficult. And doctors from other states like AP and Karnataka are availing of this. They are going into, so for instance, if you want to work in Surat or Bhubaneswar or Guwahati or Amritsar, some knowledge of Hindi is required so that you interact with your patients and other things. Anyhow, this has to be kept in the back of the mind. Very, very important. Next is why reinvent the wheel? The central government is providing funding as well as facilities for Navodaya school in every district. And that is not allowed in, that's not agreed to by Tamil Nadu because Navodaya school teach Hindi. This is something very peculiar. As a language only, peculiar because CBSE, ICSE, matriculation, all type of schools in Tamil Nadu teach Hindi. It's not something new. Why I am telling you this, they are planning to allocate some 7,000 crore for what they call Professor Anbalagan model schools. I am not very sure whether he was a full professor. Anyhow, so what is the type of alternate strategy Tamil Nadu should seriously think? Is very important. It has got a highly talented and technical manpower, highly knowledgeable manpower among all the states in India, I would say. So traditionally, it has something like 50 plus state undertaking, which are all, if you ask me, all futile. And a good number of them have not finalized their annual account according to Finance Commission. So the state should relook at it, look at their real estate, that's the main asset, nothing else, and dispose it off and monetize it instead of looking at the temple wealth and other thing. The second is, you see, in the 60s, there was such a milk scarcity in the country. And so the state entered into milk production. And similarly, transport activities were also expanded by the state. Today, it is not required. All the milk producing center, private have come significant number actually. And every street corner you get milk today. And so private transport operators have also phenomenally increased. So what the state should withdraw from all these activities. Any business activity, I think state is, it's not the business of the state to be in business. They should withdraw and focus on high tech, space, deep sea, and so many other areas they have to focus, utilizing the available technical, knowledgeable, skilled people. And these are the areas which private may not be very enthusiastic in entering. So that should be a very revolutionary type of thing. They should be seriously thinking. And two other areas are tourism and healthcare. Tamil Nadu is, I think, for number one or number two in tourism. And it can actually strengthen the tourism. Much of the tourists come from West Bengal, Rajasthan, Gujarat. And many of them are ladies actually. This is the domestic tourism I am talking about. And this can be strengthened in terms of organizing what are called the, pickup point at Calcutta to drop point at Calcutta by either train or bus or plane or anything. And a significant number of sponsored tourism groups can be encouraged. And tourism generates huge amount of employment in terms of small businesses, in terms of taxi run fellows, in terms of so many, and the chota hotels and so many areas are flourishing due to tourism. And for this again, very important is ability to communicate in Hindi is a must. Other than that, international tourists, Spanish, French, Italian and German, all these language schools should be started and imparted in Tamil Nadu. This will provide good employment opportunities. Other area is health. As I told you, 4 out of the, it's a very large number of doctors we are producing. We also have huge number of nurses and various other type of health care people. We can create, healthcare facilities across the state in terms of, near sea resorts, near temples and other things. We can even have international groups coming in and groups from various other parts of the India. And, it can include yoga, it can include various other Ayurveda and various other type of related activities that could provide a huge employment opportunities. That's something very, very important, which is being faced by South. But will they catch the bull by the horn is the issue. Or they will continue to be traditional welfare state, like, providing some amount of money to women and rural people. And these are good, nothing wrong about it, but this is a pure welfareism. This is all 19th century and 20th century attempted another thing. I think Tamil Nadu should think much above these things now, and think in terms of doing a significant revolutionary step in terms of coming out of all these activities like transport, milk production, and this and that another thing. Focus on extremely high tech areas, create institution for it, and Tamil Nadu should become the pioneer in terms of high technology in the country as well as in Asia. That is what I would be thinking about looking at this budget. Thank you very much.